welcome to my video. This is the fourth of its kind, entitled Parents. If you're a subscriber of mine, welcome back, subscriber Annie. I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. No, seriously though. Holy 22,000 of you. That's more than the amount of people who live in my town. Just thinking about it just blows my mind. So in every video, I do a shout out from the comments from the newest video. This video shout out goes to Mr. Sir Ty. 3 things. 1, entitled Parents make me angry. 2, you're awesome. 3, C2. Oh, thank you. You just made my day. I also have brain farts in every single one of my videos. I'm starting to think it could be a fun drinking game every time I have one. Last video was no exception. It was in the shout-out section, and I feel really bad because I mispronounced my shout-outee's name. It's not Dr. Potato, but DJ Potato. I'm so sorry. I always have brain farts. I feel really bad that happened to be on your name, though. Oh, sorry about that. But now that's put to order, let's do some entitled parents. Entitled parent, low on brains. Entitled parent thinks her child's entertainment is more important than my work. So, I'm a college student in the upper Midwest, and you all probably know we got hit pretty hard by the polar vortex recently. This led us to missing an entire week of classes and falling behind pretty far on course content. Luckily, a couple of my professors were smart enough to post some recorded lectures up on our college network, so we could listen to them on our own time. This is important because I decided to knock a few hours of this out at my local cafe, as classes were going to resume in 2 days and just listening to them at home sounded really dull. Might as well chow down on a chocolate croissant while you're being forced to listen to your professor ramble on about Western literature, you know? So I'm listening to these boring lectures on my phone and typing up an essay on my laptop. Then all of a sudden, a boy from the table to my left starts shaking his table. I'm a drama-loving so I take out one of my headphones to hear this conversation. Mom, the battery is dead. The mother sighs almost exaggeratedly loud and grabs a phone I'm assuming is hers from this little kid's hands. She says something lowly to her kid that I can't quite hear, but whatever it was, her kid was having precisely none of it. He starts to throw a full-scale tantrum and is crying quite loudly. Instead of doing the responsible thing and taking her kid outside for a talking to, she scans the cafe briefly before her eyes land on me. I get embarrassed for a moment. I assume that she had caught me eavesdropping on her mommy drama. I turn my eyes away and desperately hope she's not going to call me out on it. Excuse me? Well, I'm going to have to think of an apology that I can give her without revealing that I don't really care. She interrupts me before I can. Would you mind letting my son play on your phone while I finish up my lunch? That wasn't what I was expecting, and it took me aback. I shake my head. No, sorry, I say. I'm really busy right now. She decides to pull out the most of all mom phrases. Sweetheart, you've never been busy until you've had a kid. She sneers, passive aggression leaking from her tone. It'll only take a few minutes. Sorry, no. I was not about to put myself behind for any amount of time for someone else's hell child. She glares at me, but doesn't say anything else. She grabs her still screaming child and leaves the cafe in a huff. I know this isn't as bad as some of the other stories on this sub, but it really surprised me that parents like this are an actual thing. I'm just hoping that I never run into her again. You know, bringing that up, it's actually been a problem lately, apparently on r/entitled-parents, where people just make up stories that sound more and more insane. It's kind of sad because sometimes people actually experience the most insane stuff, but nobody's gonna believe them because there's a bunch of fakers out there who should be posting their content to r/thathappened. But yeah, I try to pick out the good stories though that sound legit. So I find it mind-boggling though that some people like, oh, I have a kid, so everyone must help me raise it. That's not how that works. It's your life choice, yours alone. Everyone else is not your personal assistant. That's not how the world works. Now, this is a sad one. Kid for sale. My neighbor wanted me to take care of her kid and pay her? My neighbor was in an abusive relationship and asked if her daughter could stay with me. One of her daughters, mind you. She had 2 more. I guess he was selectively abusive? This is a thing? I only bring up the other kids because she said her child had no clothes to bring with her. Her sister, who was the same size, needed to use them. So, okay, we go to the thrift store, buy the kid a bunch of clothes, set up the spare room for her, and she moves in. $2,000 later. A couple of months pass, and we get a call from her mom saying there must be some mistake because she's no longer getting benefits for the kid. I'm like, yes, when a child no longer lives with you, you no longer get benefits for her. I will remember her words verbatim for the rest of my life. Well, I'm losing $250 a month off my welfare and $250 tax credit. So if you want to keep her, you gotta pay me $500 a month. Wait, what? I just hung up. That's sad. Edit. It was asked how she's doing now. I really wish I had a Hallmark Channel ending. The abusive guy left her mom for one of the 18-year-old daughter's friends. Her mom then let her move back in and decided the kid now owed her for the money she lost. While working to pay her mom back, she met a guy and moved in with him. Not sure if she moved in first or got pregnant first, but she had her first baby as a teen. She's now 20, 3 kids born a couple years apart, 2 with special needs. She had a falling out with everyone, siblings, me, mom, over the guy. He's not abusive exactly, just doesn't do anything. Work, cook, clean, care for the kids. He just sits there blasting rap music and playing video games. She literally packs him lunches before going to work to support him. Not a bad person, just Jabba the Hutt. He does have a big family who are mostly great and supportive of her. Her mom retained custody and retained that I'm worthless and I owe everyone for my existence attitude, so there was nothing anyone could do to help. I mean, we send a card at Christmas with grocery gift cards, so they definitely get food with it. She's a very responsible person as far as working, caring for and feeding their kids, and making sure they have clothes. I consider it a win-win, even if there's a human mushroom growing in her living room. That's the funniest thing ever. Like, it's a sad story, but then you get to the end, it's like, it's a human mushroom growing in her living room, and his name is Jabba the Hutt. So sad, though. Like, I've met parents like this. Like, I have had friends whose parents were like, oh, you're going to school and you live somewhere else and you need the money that you get, but actually, I'm gonna keep the money because you're my kid and you owe me. It's redonkulous. It's some people shouldn't be parents. Plain and simple. The person who took care of the kid, though, so selfless. It's sad that, like, the justice system, like the legal system, didn't step in and do something, because for a person to be like, well, I'm just gonna give my kid away. Actually, I'm gonna take them back. And now they owe me. Child labor. Have to pay me back. Like, someone should have looked into that. That's just sad. It's just a crutch. You can walk. Why do you need crutches? So, I am a fairly athletic person. I tried out for every sport and attended almost every game. After a particularly tough track season, I dislocated my kneecap. For the first time of many. The doctor said I had to use a demobilizer and crutches for the next 3 months, and I quickly adjusted to it. One day, me and my friends are walking down the hall when a dude, now known as entitled child, pushes me off balance on the crutches, making me fall face first onto the floor, and proceeds to grab them. I am utterly defenseless at this moment. I can't run after him, and I am in no condition to fight him. In an instant, my friends were on him like the FBI on some 15-year-old who doesn't know what incognito mode is. They were hassling him, trying to take my crutches back, and suddenly there is a scream and loud footsteps. I thought it was an angel, my saving grace. But no. In walks entitled mom, screaming. My poor baby! What are you doing to him? You mean 8th graders? The entitled child immediately starts putting on his "Mommy, they hurt me" facade, getting all misty-eyed when I finally stand up. Not literally. conversation as follows. What are you talking about? He stole my crutches.
My baby would never. Besides, you're on the track team. I saw you walking just last week. It's not like you need these or anything.
She starts trying to take off with my crutches, and I can't even stand without help. This is when my saving grace finally shows up. Mrs. Franklin, the vice principal. What is going on here? Get off the ground. Where are your crutches, young man? They took them, ma'am. I point uselessly at the entitled child and entitled mother. Miss Franklin had a nasty talk with them, and entitled child returned my crutches, albeit damaged, and apologized crudely. No parents are involved on my part, and I only see that kid one more time sitting in the bleachers at the first swim meet the next year, harassing a girl with crutches. Again. Guess there's no real happy ending here, sorry. He did end up getting my crutches, but that isn't very interesting. At first I was like, do you mean like he finally stole them? Why wouldn't that be interesting? But then I realized the kid broke his leg, didn't he? Like he finally got his wish. He finally got to have crutches because he broke his leg or something. Karma? I feel bad for saying that about a little kid, but yeah. Like, I remember when I was a kid, though, I thought it was so cool, crutches. Because my aunt, she had injured herself, and she had crutches, and I looked up to her so much. And I was like, I want to have crutches. I want to have a cast that people can write their names on. That's so cool. Like, oh my god, what if I had, like, a wheelchair that was totally pimped out? Like, kids are so stupid. Like, I feel like at least 50% of kids are like, yeah, I totally wanted to have like a broken limb so people could sign my cast. Oh my god, the logic. Brenda. When entitlement goes wrong. I knew this girl, Brittany. We went to the same elementary, middle, and high school. I didn't have a problem with her, but with her mom. Her mom, Brenda, was an at. She was living through her daughter. She pushed her daughter to keep perfect grades, friends, etc. She is the type of woman who refuses to let her daughter have any friends that get below a B average in school. I have 3 entitled stories with this woman. Story 1. The birthday party. I was in 4th grade when this happened. I was still trying to make friends with the girls. So for my birthday, I sent everyone an invitation. The plan was to meet at my place at 4 p.m., go bowling, and a sleepover. I was so excited. I waited, and waited, and waited. 7 p.m. rolls around and no one shows up. We give them another hour and still no one. So my mom gets furious. Not because no one showed up, but because no one called to tell her. So she starts making phone calls. And the yelling ensues. Come to find that Brenda made up some bullshit story about how my family lived in a trailer park, which I didn't. Not that there's anything wrong with that, I just want to say. And none of the parents wanted to drop off their kids off in a trailer home. When my mom finally calls Brenda to chew her out, she finds out that Brenda did this because she didn't want her daughter to hang around some stupid, I had a horrible ADD, because her daughter might become stupid as well. That's not how intelligence works. A pretty unintelligent assumption though, so that kind of shows Brenda's brain intelligence capacity, but okay. Next day was awesome though. Mom let me call my male friends, all 4 of them, took us laser tagging, indoor go-karting, and bought us dinner at my favorite restaurant, Don Pablo's. Story 2. The musical takes place during the 5th grade. My family was involved in multiple small musicals. Annie, Fiddler on the Roof, etc. Mom and I both sang and danced as background characters while Dad was in the pit playing his trumpet. Brenda was always there, in every musical we were in, and insisted that Brittany be whatever lead role is in that age group. Complained that the costumes didn't flatter her daughter, room was too hot, etc. The one that I remember the most is when she backed down to the pit and told my dad that the musicians were too loud and needed to be more quiet as they might hurt my daughter's ears. That's a real thing though. That's a real thing. So he purposely would play super loud on his trumpet when Brenda would walk by or speak to anyone playing in the pit. I mean, that's fine. when Brenda walked by, that's fine. But it's a real thing though. Like I had my ears actually injured because of neglectful like that. So yeah. Story 3. Now you guys, this is a sad one, so prepare yourself. Playing favorites. Brenda had a younger child named Kent. Kent was such a good kid. He was about 2 or 3 years younger than us. She constantly bullied him to be whatever she wanted him to be. But unlike his sister, he was more strong-willed and never let her. So she acted like he wasn't there. Oh my god. I didn't know him as well as my boyfriend, now fiancé. I interacted with him mostly during band class. The way his eyes lit up when you asked him anything about percussion could bright up the room. But Brenda didn't think so. She was mad and constantly compared him to his sister. Never introduced her son in gatherings as hers. Oh my god. It got so bad that not long after my boyfriend took him to a rock concert when they were both in college, that we heard the news. Kent died by his own hands. It's been so long now that I can't remember if it was by overdose or hanging, but I remember the funeral very well. I went to pay my respects to him and his sister because his parents, when I overhear Brenda softly speaking to her husband on how she was surprised this didn't happen sooner. I was so mad that I laid a drumstick into his coffin and left telling the funeral workers to please not remove the drumsticks, but hide them deeper into the coffin if necessary, as it was a gift from the former high school band kids who couldn't be there. I don't know if they honored our wishes, as I had left raging mad. You, Brenda. You. I think we can all say that. Yes, Brenda. You. Like, I've seen this before, though. I've seen, like, really awful favoritism amongst friends who had siblings who were, like, the golden kid, and then my friend would be treated like, I remember this one kid that I was friends with. She never did anything wrong. She was, like, perfect. She would try so hard to be perfect for her mom. But her mom just constantly kept saying, oh, if she does anything wrong, I'm not surprised, because she's always doing things wrong. Her bedroom was like creepily tidy. There wasn't a speck of dust in her bedroom. And her mother forced her to have these creepy porcelain dolls in her room. Even though when her daughter said, I'm really scared of them, the mom was just like, you have to. It's just, you have to. And the thing is, like, she had a younger sister. The sister's room looked like a bomb had gone off. And the mom would let her get away with anything. And it's like, okay, so one kid you expect to be Miss Perfect and you treat her like the other kid gets away with anything and you treat her like a princess. What the Some people just shouldn't have kids because, like, if you can't not play favorites, you really shouldn't raise kids because you're gonna raise them with issues. That's just my personal opinion on the matter. Yeah. I'm your mommy now. When I was 9 years old, I had broken my right femur and a tibia in my left leg, with several bruises and an arm sling on my shoulder, all from an ATV accident my brother took me on, in which he flipped into a telephone pole. Anyway, fast forward to about 2 months. I have full leg casts on both legs, one being bright orange and the other being black. I wanted to make the cast colors match Halloween themes since I got my casts not a month prior, but was now just awkward in Thanksgiving and Christmas time. In school, I had to have somebody push me to my classes, and the teachers could handle me there. A nurse would come and get me if I needed to use the bathroom or whatever, and the teachers were all around super nice, and I'm so grateful to have had them support me at that time. So, one school day sometime in late-ish November, the nurse was pushing me through the halls after I had used the bathroom about 5 minutes after classes started. So the halls were empty. Midway to my class, the nurse had stopped pushing me. She got a message that a student upstairs was seizing again. The kid is all right now. He is actually a good friend of mine that just has episodes sometimes. And so she asked me to sit tight while she helped someone. Here I am, directly in front of the office waiting area where parents come to pick up kids. I basically just start counting the tiles on the floor or whatever when in comes the beloved Entitled Mom. Entitled Mom walks up to me.
Hi there, princess. What happened here? An accident?
Me sort of surprised by her presence. Yeah, my brother wrecked the four-wheeler. Now I have some stories to tell if somebody asks me about my scars. Entitled mother displaying a horrified look.
Oh my goodness, what kind of parents would allow that? Your parents are awful.
I'm gonna take good care of you. Entitled mother then puts her hand on my shoulder and I guess tries to calm me. I get very upset and worried. No, they're good parents. I love them and they take care of me. Don't ever talk bad about my family. I was a very polite child until someone talked smack about my parents. I would have none of it. Entitled mother clearly getting fed up after minutes of telling me of how awful my parents are and that she could do so much better.
How about you just find out for yourself about how good a parent I am? I've always wanted a girl, and your parents clearly don't care if you don't come back.
This actually pulls up the wheelchair brakes and starts walking me down the ramp towards the door. All the while, I'm yelling out and hitting this hands. When I started yelling a lot, the lady got tired and just said, "Fine, if you're going to be such a rude brat, I'll just give this to my son." Shoves me out of the wheelchair, my wheelchair, and rolls it back up the ramp as I sit there crying loudly about my legs. Eventually a teacher, let's call him Chill, came out of the room next to where I was dropped at and asked me what happened. I was bawling my eyes out and could barely get out a few sentences. "She took my chair," and pointed up. Eventually, Chill wheels me a school wheelchair and takes me up the ramp, and we see the entitled mother with my wheelchair folded up in the lobby. When she sees me, she gives me an evil stare, and I felt fear that I still go to therapy for. When Chill confronts the entitled mother starts yelling at us.
"That little devil stole my son's wheelchair and rolled off with it. Not to mention, she broke my kid's arm. I'm going to sue this school and that little..."
Upon hearing this, Chill laughs but stays composed. 1. She is disabled and cannot walk. 2. Your son is nowhere to be seen. 3. That is her wheelchair that you have, and I'm going to have to demand you give it back. 4. I am calling the police. I know who you are. You're Kevin's mother. Within seconds, the nurse walks up and asks what is going on, as she notices the entitled mother with my wheelchair, and Chill quickly informs her, and she checks my legs. And I mustered up the courage to say I'll be fine for now or something. Not entirely sure. The next thing I remember is the nurse calling 911 when the entitled mother got Kevin and darted out of there with my wheelchair. When she ran by, Chill grabbed the wheelchair and in response, entitled mother whipped his head with her fist and he stumbled and fell to his knees. By the time he balanced himself, she was already at the downstairs doors. My parents were quickly told about the situation not long after police arrived at the school, and I was basically sent home early after some questions from the really cool sheriff. A really cool sheriff. Later that day, the entitled mother was arrested and, according to my parents, was charged with child abuse, resisting arrest, drug possession, I'm not surprised, disturbing the peace, assault, 1st and 2nd degree, some against police, child pornography, and driving under the influence. All of this wasn't just a cause from the fiasco at the school, but after they had arrested her, I believe they saw drugs and I guess went from there. I believe that this was a bit much for someone, but she haunts my nightmares. She is the one evil witch that will forever stay in my mind, and I couldn't forgive somebody for doing this to a 9-year-old child. Edit. I eventually got my wheelchair back from the lady after we pressed charges, and she paid for a shiny iPhone for me with that money. Also, the Chill teacher became my favorite teacher ever. He came to my elementary, middle, and high school graduations and even helped me job shadow, apply for scholarships, and everything. He even taught me how to play guitar. That is crazy. And when you first start reading the story, you're like, oh, this is fake. But then you remember that people do crazy things on drugs, and then it stops being surprising. And then you hear the things they do, like the child pornography, just haunts my soul. What that woman wanted that little girl for. I'm gonna round you off with a short but sweet one.
Doggy!
I witnessed a woman throw a hissy fit because her daughters couldn't pet this blind man's service dog. Now, I should preface this with, I don't know if the guy was blind. I just think he was. Black glasses and that. But I was walking in our local shopping center with my friend, we'll call him Alan. We went to McDonald's and then the Scottish version of GameStop. And we were getting ready to leave. And that's when we saw this blind man with a service dog walking by, and I thought nothing of it. But the dog was beautiful. Golden retriever with a deep red coat. So as we see this dog, a little girl walking with her mom saw it too. Now I don't need to explain in detail what happens, as it is obvious. Entitled mother asks the blind man if her daughter can pet the service dog, and he says no, sorry. The dialogue between them afterwards went like this.
Can my daughter pet your dog?
No, miss, sorry.
Oh, come on, please. She's only little and she really likes dogs.
I'm really sorry, but my dog can't be distracted as it might affect his work. I hear this and I think, good point, this woman is gonna drop it. But she doesn't. And it's like for the past 30 whatever years of her life, no one has ever told her no.
You cruel man. All she wants to do is pet your dog.
Come off it. How Scottish.
What did you just say to me?
She then proceeds to yell,
this man just called me a
Blind man at this point just tells her to shut up and walk away, which was a smart move in my opinion. We all just walked away. I love the fact that in her world, when someone tells her no, it's automatically that they're calling her a prostitute. It's sad though. This is like a thing where people are like, dogs are not actually animals with feelings. They're oversized stuffed animals and my child has a right to them. They're insane. Sadly, it's a thing that's like prevalent. So y'all need to stop. Come on. That's it for this time, you guys. I hope you enjoyed the stories I picked and that you'll come back for more next week. I post every Friday. Yes. Also, if you want to hang, I'm frequently on my Discord server. At these times, a brain fart again, seriously, at these times as shown on the screen. Okay, yes, so hope to see you there. Remember to subscribe. Okay, bye!